The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
BronxNet. Your voice, your views, your vision.
And hello and welcome to Open, the one and only show that opens the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I'm your host, Darren Jaime, and today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our community, as well as around the world. Coming up on today's show, we'll bring you the latest local, national, and international headlines. Then we'll find out about an event that can show you how to reduce the cost of your energy bills. And after that, we'll sit down with a New York organization helping those to stay warm in the winter. And we'll find out about a program exploring challenges that develop during life's final journey. And finally, an event that will prepare students and their families to plan as well as pay for college. So stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way, because right now, we're officially open. And hello, everyone, and welcome to Open. I'm your host, Darren Jaime. Today is Wednesday, November 13th, 2013. Of course, you're watching Open, the only live interactive program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. So we want to encourage you to stay connected to us. You can find out more about us on Twitter at BronxNet TV and Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. Leading things off with international news, one of the worst storms in recorded history slammed the Philippines last Friday, with winds topping at least 140 miles an hour and a storm surge as high as 13 feet. Typhoon Haiyan caused catastrophic destruction as well as loss of life. Officials are now working to determine how many people have been killed, with the country's president saying the death toll could be lower than earlier feared. Aid is slowly arriving to the city of Tacloban with pallets of supplies and teams of doctors eager to help. Now, if you wish to make donations to the Philippines, you can do so through the Red Cross or Doctors Without Borders. But please make sure the organization that you're donating to is a legitimate one. Moving now to the national front. The state Senate passed a bill yesterday, legalizing gay marriage, putting Hawaii one signature away from becoming a same-sex wedding destination. Governor Neil Abercrombie, who called lawmakers to a special session for the bill and has vocally supported gay marriage, said he would sign the measure. It'll allow thousands of gay couples living in Hawaii and even more tourists to marry in the state starting as early as December the 2nd. And today in New York City, a ribbon-cutting ceremony will be held celebrating the first skyscraper officially opening in what used to be Ground Zero after the September 11th attacks. Fort World Trade Center currently has 2 tenants so far, the Port Authority and the Human Resources Administration for the City of New York. Now, developers are hoping that more tenants will soon come forward as an attraction to Lower Manhattan. Well, we got to take a quick break, but first, newspaper El Diario continues to celebrate their 100 years of informing the Latino community. And to show us one of the many celebrations happening across is BronxNet's correspondent, Madeline Rodriguez.
I'm Madeline Rodriguez, and I'm at NYU, New York University in Manhattan, with El Diario La Prensa, the oldest Spanish newspaper in the U.S. It's celebrating its 100th anniversary with an exhibit of over 5,000 pictures highlighting the struggles and success stories of Latinos here in the city of New York.
Looking at the image here, they were fantastic and brought me to many of those people that I knew. Many of them are no longer here. For El Diario Nueva York, I remember when I first came, was El Diario de Nueva York, el campeón de los hispanos.
You can see from these pictures the commitment of people who were dedicated and devoted to that very one thing, to bring the Bronx back as a place that our grandparents and our parents came to, a place for strivers, the place that we remember as a ladder of opportunity when our families got there, that we hope we would leave to the families who come after us.
the purpose of the exhibit is to celebrate the 100th anniversary of El Diario La Prensa and also simultaneously show the newspaper's major legacy in documenting the history of the Hispanic community in New York, but also documenting the amazing contribution of Hispanics to all aspects of public life in New York, from the arts, education, sports, health, housing, politics, businesses. Hispanics have made a humongous contribution, and this exhibit is a celebration of them, of their legacy, and it is a celebration of this beautiful city that we love so much.
Considering that stop and frisk has been such part of the conversation today, you see the movement of Latinos, people who were affected personally by police brutality, and people who organized around it. The movement to hold the police department accountable and to make sure also justice was pursued in those cases. So people know that there's this movement that's been building for decades.
I think it's important to use the anniversary to tell these stories so that so the next generation knows that we have stories, so they can tell stories and they know who were those people who kind of paved the way for our community. Some of them were not, there's not going to be a national holiday for them, and yet they were very important locally.
This exhibit shows that Latinos throughout the decades have been able to accomplish their goals here in the city of New York. And not only that, they continue to pave the way for the new Latino generation.
And thank you, Madeline. Switching fronts now, can one truly prepare to lose a loved one? Let's Write the Last Chapter is a program that discusses end-of-life challenges. It encourages open dialogue between families as well as physicians. Here to talk more about the program is the Director of Cultural Diversity and Jewish Programming for MJHS Hospice and Palliative Care, Ms. Toby Weiss, and we welcome you to the show.
Thank you, Darren.
So when we talk about writing the end of the last chapter, obviously it's something that many people don't want to do, but it's something that you very well encourage.
Absolutely. We, MJHS Hospice and Palliative Care is one of the largest hospice programs in the New York metropolitan area, and what we have learned and what we try to encourage others to do is to confront a very difficult, vulnerable time of life through the lens of what it means for a person to go through a final journey. And this program, Let's Write the Last Chapter Together, is a program that will highlight a keynote speaker, Rabbi Brad Hirschfield, who's known throughout the country for some of his works. He's written a book called Embracing Life in the Face of Death, and we're going to be pairing him up with our panelists and look at the difficulties in speaking about one's wishes at end of life through the lens of a hospice medical director, a family caregiver who's experienced the loss of a couple of family members, and a social worker. And this is part of an entire series that we've been doing in community-based settings throughout New York to compel people to have these conversations, what they look like, how to initiate them, and to enhance literacy about end of life.
You're encouraging people to have a very frank conversation, and in some ways kind of harsh. What's the receptivity, if you will, on the parts of people?
Well, it's interesting. My role is Director of Cultural Sensitivity, Cultural Diversity, and we have found that people in culturally unique communities, all communities, have certain taboos and barriers around end of life. And within the Jewish community, the Hispanic community, the Asian community, the Russian community, the Caribbean community, there's a lot of different cultures, cultural values and traditions that raise a barrier. Our goal is to compel people to lower that barrier. And one of the ways, I would say that one of the most important ways, is for an individual who knows that they're dealing with an illness to confront their own fears and concerns. And the most difficult conversation is the one that you have with yourself. And if you can't have that conversation with yourself, it's going to be very difficult to have it with others. This program and others like it will hopefully encourage people to have that conversation and help the providers the caregivers, the physicians, the social workers, all people that care for a person who's very ill, have those conversations as well, and worry and look at what's hard for them, what's hard for the doctor to have a conversation with a patient, how does a social worker deal with a family in conflict. One of the things, I'm so pleased that we were invited to come here on the campus of Lehman College, because there's so many multi-generational families that are living together today, and we know that end of life does not befall only older people.
Right.
It could be anyone. In fact, it's an unfortunate truth, but we happen to have a pediatric hospice and palliative care program, and much of the legislation in this country that changed the face of end of life came about because of young women who were otherwise healthy, who came to an end by a tragic accident. So we know that there are a lot of different disease processes and a lot of different trajectories that people have that bring them to end of life. These conversations need to be had when a person is healthy and not only when they're dying.
I want to talk about a place for the elderly to live in their time of greatest need. And, you know, unfortunately, when you're elderly, one of the things that people have to deal with is housing.
Yes. So the Bronx, as well as the other boroughs, happen to have a good deal of housing, senior housing. There's a lot of NORCs, naturally occurring retirement communities, where a lot of the people that are living there are getting services. Anyone who's getting services should be better informed about the options that they have in how to access care. When we talk about writing the last chapter together, and we're talking specifically about serious and advanced illness, that throws the conversation in the direction of hospice, which is one where a patient is told that there's nothing more that can be done for them. And when a person is receiving hospice, or when a person is not receiving hospice but is elderly and very ill, they need help at home. If they can't be safely managed at home, then they need to go to a facility or a place where family members can be assured that they'll be cared for in a way that's not dangerous. Hospice, I just want to focus on hospice for 1 minute. Hospice is not a place. Hospice is a kind of care. And hospice can be received in the home, wherever a person lives, whether it's in their home, a child's home, a nursing home, an assisted living, a senior community, and they would be able to get a whole basket of services that come to them where they reside. For a person who has a very high acuity level of care need, pain and symptoms that need to be managed effectively, they can be managed in something called an inpatient unit, which is not a hospital but has round-the-clock care, or in a residence, a hospice residence. In fact, we have 2 hospice residences in the Bronx. We have one at the Jewish Home Life Care campus, Kittay House, and we have one in Riverdale. Then there are people who are caregivers. There's a lot of caregivers, I'm sure, in the audience, whether it's grandchildren, children, spouses, and sometimes caregivers who are caring for somebody who is very, very ill need respite, because there's caregiver burnout is one of the highest areas of pressure and stress on the family today. A patient who's on hospice can be put into a nursing home environment for 3, 4, 5 days, so a caregiver can have respite, can go away for whether it's a family event, a vacation, a business trip, and then that patient can be returned back home and cared for by their primary caregiver. So there's a lot of different ways and places for people to be at home. There's also today, one of the most recent changes in healthcare law is managed long-term care. So for people that want to stay at home, they can be at home and have round-the-clock care on these managed long-term care programs. In fact, we have one that's called Home First. And these managed long-term care programs are replacing all of the programs that were in the past. Lombardi programs, home care services in the home are being reduced because of these changes, but managed long-term care is where the focus is today.
So if people want to find out more information about the services that you have, where do they go?
They can call me and I can forward them. The number is 649-5585, 212-649-5585, and I would be happy to answer questions and to forward their requests to the right people.
And if somebody's watching it saying, who's eligible to receive services, who would they be?
Anyone who is in need of end-of-life care options, whether community-based palliative care or hospice care, would be, if it's for hospice care, it's somebody who, their primary care physician, whether it's a specialist like an oncologist, cardiologist, pulmonologist, whatever, or a family practitioner and general practitioner, would say that if this person's disease were to follow its natural course, that they have a 6-month diagnosis. That's one eligibility criterion. And the second is that they are not seeking to cure their disease. Those are the two criteria for hospice eligibility. 6 months, which doesn't mean you're going to die in 6 months, but based on the doctor's best clinical indicators would estimate that, and you're no longer seeking to cure. Palliative care, a person who is going through any kinds of treatment and aggressive treatment can have pain and symptom management in their home while they have all of the other care that they're seeking, and that would be anyone who has a life-limiting illness.
All right. Well, Toby, thank you so much. And once again, the workshop is tomorrow.
Yes, the
7:45.
Yes, tomorrow night at Congregation Adat Israel of Riverdale. That's 475 West 250th Street in Riverdale. Everyone is invited.
All right. Toby, thank you so much. There you see the information on your screen, Writing the Last Chapter Together, Thursday, November 14th at 7:45. And if you have the time, make sure you come on out. Toby, thanks a lot so much for sharing with us. All righty. Well, we got to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll discuss how sustainable energy not only saves you money, but it makes communities green. We'll explain that right after this.
Live with a human for a while, and you get to know a few things. Like, I know she does strange tricks for no treats. But the one thing I will never for the life of me know is how she gets so tiny and inside that box. Natalie, how do you get so tiny?
I'm New York City Comptroller John Liu. You're watching Open with Dr. Bob Lee and DJ Kool Clyde.
The Sustainable Energy and Design Conference at BCC will focus on areas such as green buildings, solar energy, and sustainable business development. Important information that might help you to save on energy costs. Here to tell us what we can expect is Director for the Center for Sustainable Energy, and we are pleased to be welcomed by Aaron Soka. And thank you so much for being here with us.
Hi, Darren.
How's everything?
Everything is well, thank you.
Good. So we are living in a more energy efficient time, and people are trying to become more energy efficient, I suppose. So you're having a conference that's going to really help to promote sustainable energy.
Absolutely, yes. We're having a conference at Bronx Community College tomorrow. It's in the Gould Memorial Library. It's one of the most historic buildings in New York City, so an ideal location for a conference focusing on preserving what is important in society. There are a lot of leaky windows, for example, and an inefficient HVAC system. And we're bringing people together to talk about building efficiency and how to save energy using solar panels or renewable fuels in the boilers. And with the winter season, I think it's an appropriate time for people to show up and join us in a conversation hosting 27 different panelists on 5 different panels ranging from sustainable design to biofuels and green chemicals. Also, we have a solar panel. And we have a
solar panel.
A solar panel and a panel on the research going on at Bronx Community College in battery technology, for example. And we also have a panel on the local business development and how local businesses and state incentives are allowing businesses to solarize their buildings and change out their boilers and make their environments more efficient.
Sounds very deep to the average person who's just watching right now. Make it a little bit more palatable to them. When we talk about energy, sustainable energy.
Palatable, we have a lunch provided by Arthur Avenue. All you have to do is register, and that it's included in the name tag. So it's it'll be great. It's Michelangelo's, and then we're trying to support Bronx Culinary Week, Restaurant Week. SavorTheBronx.com, I think, is where we got the idea for this. The idea of sustainable energy is sort of a combination of a lot of ideas. It's not just renewable fuel, it's not just solar, it's what you do on a daily basis, whether or not you ride your bike to work or take public transportation. So we're encouraging all those types of means to get to the conference. There will be some of the bigger entrepreneurs in the city from companies like Solar One. There will be some of the municipalities like the Department of Buildings, NYSERDA. The mayor's office will be there talking about green roofs. There will be folks talking about the Bronx Startup New York. So this is tax-free zone that has been established through the Bronx Community College, so that it was not Lehman, it was actually Bronx Community College that was selected.
We can take that.
So that local businesses can come in to our, I believe it's a 60 or 80,000 square foot space, incubator space, set up a business with no income tax and no property tax for the next 10 years. There will be senators announcing these types of incentives. A lot going on at BCC. So.
When we talk about green agendas personally here in the Bronx and urban areas, how do you get to the place that we could actually advance a green movement, a green agenda here in our area?
Sure. So there are, for example, with biofuel, there's a policy in place under Plan NYC to reduce carbon emissions. And that comes down from on high. So Mayor Bloomberg's office and Cuomo's office provide funds so that building owners and renters can make choices as to what types of fuel they put into their boilers, what types of what they put on their roofs, whether or not they paint their roof white to reduce the cooling necessities, or whether or not they put solar panels up at a significant discount provided by the state. So all of these topics will be visited, and a lot of people will be giving information and doing free audits of buildings so that people are more informed on how to reduce the costs. It sounds great until you see the bottom line, and then so we help to bridge that gap.
Well, consumers, homeowners, everybody wants to take advantage of possible energy savings if they can save money on energy in their own homes. What are some of the ways, quickly, that we could probably do some things to save energy, probably reduce the bills a little bit, because everybody could use some bill reduction?
Sure. Yeah, you could swap out your lights for LED lights. You can petition your building owner to use natural gas instead of oil. You can use biodiesel instead of oil, number 6 oil. You can take the train instead of drive. You can ride your bike instead of drive. You can close the windows if and while you're running your air conditioner.
They'll stay closed during this time of year.
Yeah, when in the summer, I was thinking in the summer. Reducing energy costs, you can invest in solar. That will eventually drive down the cost of your electric bill because you'll be feeding into the grid, and Con Edison will be paying you. So sort of a short-term investment for a long-term payoff is the idea.
Are people taking more advantage of these? Because, you know, these things are out there. You can do them at home. I should say, are people taking advantage, or are people becoming more aware of these?
Yeah, the awareness is something that you need to really sit down and have a conversation with people about, and you need to see experts in the field discuss the steps by which you take to mitigate your energy use. And if you keep hearing about it day in and day out, then you'll start to eventually listen. And I think the idea is to also train people in the skills required to provide these services. So we do building efficiency training at Bronx Community College. We do green chemistry. We do solar installation. So no one wants to listen to green chemistry, but I'm a chemistry professor, so I have to plug away for that. The idea is that you can come in, go to school for 2 years, graduate with a degree that allows you to go into the workforce and start installing solar panels, or start changing out boilers, or start working on HVAC systems. And as more and more incentives become available from the state level and the city level, which they inevitably will, because in New York, we emit 80% of our carbon through heating and cooling, as opposed to another city which uses cars to generate that carbon dioxide. The jobs will be there. The jobs are there now, and students at BCC will be primed for these positions.
We talk about jobs. Let's talk about entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs who have desires for solar projects. Money is involved in trying to get these solar projects going. It takes, you know, sometimes a considerable amount of funds.
Sure.
What's out there for the entrepreneur, for the person that really has their heart's desire set on trying to do a solar project?
Well, there are free energy audits of homes, and there are also permitting bills, legislation in place now through the state level that allows someone to come in, audit your roof, and determine what size system you need and what incentives are available to install that system, and they will put you in touch with the right installation companies and then connect you to the grid, or set up a battery backup system if you prefer to be off-grid. So there are a lot of options, and someone from Sustainable CUNY, so the larger CUNY sustainability group who has written this legislation, will be there tomorrow to discuss what is available in terms of solar.
We hear a lot about the word sustainability, and we know sustainability is a big thing, particularly in this time, in this space. What kind of career options are there available for people who want to have a career in sustainability?
Sure. Well, any business these days that is not sustainable will not survive. I think the idea of sustainability has changed a lot from the kumbaya era of our parents to the now era, which is stay in business and provide a product that people are actually going to buy. So I was at a conference a few weeks ago where folks from H&M, for example, the clothing company, were up there talking about how their cotton is organic and sustainable, and how the food that they serve to their employees is organic and sustainable. And all of these things that you don't necessarily think of as solar or biofuel, are sustainability is just permeating the culture on many levels. So we have business agreements with various companies on the international level, on the national level, that will provide training documents and courses to embed into the current physics, chemistry, biology courses that are offered at BCC, so that when a student graduates from our programs, they will have additional knowledge, such as the use of various instruments that allow them to work in the healthcare field, for example, in the agriculture field, for example, in the environmental science field, to analyze soil or food crops or fabrics for their their contents.
Before we leave, one more time, let's give people the information about the conference.
Sure. So I'm Aaron Sosha. I can be reached at 718-289-5192 in the office. The conference is tomorrow, starting at 8:30. There will be coffee and pastries, and then it goes all the way until 6 p.m. tomorrow night. Starts up again at 8:30 on Friday morning, and then there's a reception at 5 o'clock. We're calling it a Prohibition-era reception because it's in this old Stanford White building. There'll be a piano, and that goes until 7 o'clock p.m. So at any point, if you register at csebcc.org, you'll receive a name tag, and you can come and go as you please from the conference and join us in some great talks.
All right. Aaron, thank you so much for coming and sharing. Best wishes at the conference.
Thank you, Darren.
All righty. Well, we got to take a quick break. But first, the popular website for tech enthusiasts, Engadget, is in its second annual event at the Jacob Javits Center over the weekend. Fans got a chance to see and even try out new products by popular brands like Sony and Microsoft and up-and-coming inventors. We got a special look, so we'll give it to you now.
Expand is a great place to get your hands on the latest and greatest in technology, the new phones, new cars. We've got Chevy on the floor with EVs and in-car technology. We have a great mix of a lot of companies that you've heard of before. Lenovo, Microsoft, Sony are here, but also a number of new inventors and innovators that you probably haven't heard of yet.
Participating in this kind of event help us to understand exactly how the end consumers will use our device. A scale is just a scale. Even if it transmits wirelessly, what is the big deal? That people have been using it to play games, especially parents play games with their children who have type 1 diabetes. They can put a different quantity of candies on it and know exactly how much sugar, how much you weigh, how much calories is involved in it. So these are the kind of things that we receive directly from consumers when we get this kind of opportunity to interact with them.
The Omni is the first ever virtual reality platform that allows you to be truly a part of the video game. It's in essence an omnidirectional treadmill that enables you to walk, run and jump in 360 degrees and translate those motions into the movements in the game. So your mind and your body is in the game. Our product is very visual, so anytime we're at a conference and we can show our product to the crowds, it's very rewarding because people love it. You see them looking at it, their jaws drop, and it's a great reaction, so it's always fun for us to be here.
It's exciting to see this here today. We've seen phenomenal growth in New York City's tech sector. We actually launched a campaign called We Are Made in New York to really celebrate our entrepreneurs and to make people aware that companies across the city of New York are hiring for thousands and thousands of jobs. So at wearemadeinny.com, you can find out that there are more than 1,000 locally headquartered companies and that they're hiring for almost 5,000 jobs.
A lot of these projects are the forefronts of trends that are emerging in technology today.
Being a dad can be tough.
No. What do you mean she's not coming?
When's the fairy princess coming?
Any minute now.
But when you're willing to do anything...
It is I, Cruz Zinkorbell. Yeah. Okay, time for cake.
It's always worth it.
I know it's really you, Drew. I'm just pretending for the other kids.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call...
This was me. And Mom and Dad. And my big brother Alex. And Jack. And this was the day that I learned that sandals get their name from sand. That jellyfish aren't made of jelly. That stars don't just come from the sky. That the ocean is bigger than all of us. This is the day we all got to forget that I was sick. And it changed everything. This was my wish.
It was another big week on the New York sports scene. Make it 3 straight wins for Big Blue. Tune in Friday morning on Open for more on the New York Football Giants and all the latest in Big Apple sports. 10 a.m. right here on FoxNet.
And welcome back to Open. Darren Jaime here with you. Well, the 6th annual Latino College Fair will get students ready, as well as parents, getting ready for college. Get the opportunity to speak with some financial experts, and then also have the opportunity to know just what is coming around the corner when you get that college education. Planning and paying for college made easier to understand is going to be some of the goals. And here to tell us more about this wonderful opportunity is the president of Commission on Independent Colleges and Universities, Ms. Laura Anglin. And welcome to the show, Laura.
Oh, good morning. It's wonderful to be with you this morning.
Thank you. So, yes, parents and students, they always have that moment of dread where they're trying to prepare for college because it's so much to have to deal with, but you really are working to be proactive in helping them with this.
Oh, absolutely, and that's why I'm here with you this morning to invite our viewers, your viewers, to plan on attending this wonderful upcoming event. On Saturday, November 23rd, we will be hosting, as you mentioned, our 6th annual Latino College Fair workshop for college students and their families, and that will kick off at 11:30 a.m. at Fordham University's Rose Hill campus in the Bronx.
So for people who are attending, they'll have the opportunity to find out a few things at this actual conference. And so I know one of those things are paying for college, and I know for parents that's a big thing that we have to deal with.
Correct. At roughly 11:30, we will kick off registration for the day, but at noon we will then have a planning and paying for college workshop at Fordham Prep High School. And the workshop is very important because it focuses on key information students and their families will need to know about the college process. And then, Darren, right after that, we will have Sergio Gonzalez from the Sally Mae Fund, and he will present an overview on admissions and financial aid for attendees. And then we will follow that by a question and answer session with financial aid experts. And we found that over the years, many parents have some terrific questions that they want to ask about tips for applying to college, how to get financial aid. And also I wanted to mention that we will be presenting all this and providing the Spanish translation.
Let me ask the question here. When you have a college student, well, you know, high schoolers, when's the best time for a parent to really start to begin to get engaged in even preparing for college?
Oh, as early as possible. We currently go into not only high schools, but we go into middle schools to work with students and their families, because the earlier you can engage and prepare and become knowledgeable, the better choices you'll have going forward.
And so now we want to tell people if you want to take part in this, is Saturday, November 23rd, and that's going to be a free planning and paying for college workshop. In addition to that, you'll also have some colleges and universities on hand.
Correct, and we'll have more than 65 colleges on hand during the college fair, which will be from 2 p.m. to 3:45. And we have already about 1,400 students and their family members are registered to attend. And one other thing I wanted to mention is during the workshop in the morning, we also will have a drawing for a $500 scholarship that for high school seniors. So that's an incentive for folks to come on out and take part in this wonderful event.
What are some of the most common questions that you hear during the college fair?
Oh, I think it's what grades do I need to get into college? Can I really afford college? Who do I need to speak with? What forms will I need? What information will I need as I apply? And really, they also love to talk about the different areas that interest them and what the school can offer in those areas. So it's a very dynamic conversation back and forth between the students, the parents, and the schools.
And when you talk about students, you know, obviously there's a lot of concern because you're taking another major step. You're moving from the high school realm into a realm of college. For some people, the possibility of having to move away. What do you provide for them to let them know about this transition?
I think that the counselors are there to talk about the process, not only financial aid counselors to try to help them understand the application process, but they're there also to talk about this major transition. Many students may want to stay near home. Many students may want to go away to school, so we have options for everybody. And I also want to mention, although this is a fair for Latino students and families, the event is free and open to anyone who has an interest in attending. So we ask anyone who wants to come, please do so.
And so we encourage you to come on out. It's going to take place Saturday, November 23rd, and it is the 6th Annual Latino College Fair, and you can take part in that and find out more information about college. What do you need to bring when you come?
You just bring yourself, bring your questions, and bring your interest in going to college. That's what we're asking.
So we want parents as well as students and those to be able to get there. Now, please give the address and time one more time, Laura.
It is at the Fordham University's Rose Hill campus in the Bronx, and the event kicks off at 11:30 with registration, and then formally at noon with the kickoff.
While I got you on the phone, there might be somebody here that's watching, and they've heard this traditional stereotypes and some myths about college and college preparation. If you dig into your bank there, why don't you just give a few seconds to break down some of the myths that somebody might be having that might be causing them some angst and some consternation?
Sure. I mean, one of the biggest things that people are concerned about is the cost of college. And what we say is that's why the financial aid experts are there, to help you understand and help your family understand that we could provide assistance in helping you attend college, and that most people receive some form. Around 90% of our students receive some form of financial aid from a college or university. So please, don't see that as a barrier. Come talk to us, but also we can help you looking at your grades and other things that you're doing to see what college can fit best with your interests.
All righty. Well, Laura Engler, thank you so much for sharing with us. And certainly we hope our students as well as parents will take advantage of the 6th Annual Latino College Fair coming right down the block from us. And Laura, thanks for spending some time with us here.
And thank you, Darren, for having me. And I look forward to seeing everyone at the fair.
All righty. Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye-bye.
All righty. Well, we do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll find out how you can help keep someone warm this winter. That's coming up right after the break.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
If I got to go to college, oh my goodness. I like discovering new things. You get to see what works for you and what doesn't. That helps you evolve as a person. You get to make like a supernova of skill or talent or whatever it is. I've always wanted to go to college. I just feel like that's my destiny. My name is Queen, and I am your dividend.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's gonna happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
Adopting a new pet is a rewarding experience. And Shelter Pets make super pets. Your new best friend will steal your heart, bring you happiness, and enrich your life for years to come. You can make a difference in the life of an animal. Adopt and bring home a Shelter Pet today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Long before I was in Hollywood, I had a grandmother by the name of Estelle Marie Taylor. Positive role models to make sure that I was on the straight path. Big Brothers Big Sisters carefully screens volunteers and places them in long-term mentoring matches with kids who face adversity. With more volunteers, especially men, and more donations, every little who needs a big can have one. Start something. If it's been a while since you've been involved, start something again. Learn more at bigbrothersbigsisters.org.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
Well, if you haven't been outside or you haven't noticed lately, the temperature is steadily dropping and many people don't even have a coat to protect them from the harsh conditions of the cold. Well, yesterday, New York Cares kicked off its 25th annual coat drive to help those in need of a winter coat. Now here to talk more about the drive and how we can all get involved is the Director of Marketing and Communications at New York Cares, Mr. Steve Stryker. And Steve, good to have you.
Thank you very much. Glad
25 years of doing this.
25 years of doing this, yes. It's quite amazing, 25 years. You know, in those 25 years, New York Cares has collected and distributed over 1.6 million coats.
Wow.
And, you know, I guess I should even say it's really not New York Cares that has done this, it is New Yorkers. One of the, I think, the really interesting and compelling aspects of the coat drive is the fact that it is neighbors helping neighbors. Mm-hmm. And that's been now happening for 25 years.
So when you talk about helping New Yorkers, you guys really are proactive in identifying people who want to have coats and at the same time also being able to get coats from New Yorkers. Give us a little bit about the process of how you're able to do this.
That's a great question. We work through partner organizations, which are other nonprofits in the city, all 5 boroughs. Whether it be schools or social service agencies, soup kitchens, etc. And they work with clients around the city, and they come to us and they say, we need coats for our clients. Mm-hmm. And then we go out there and we team up with individuals. We team up with like the MTA, for example. We put collection sites in certain transit hubs. We partner with the New York Police Department. There is a collection site drop-off location in every single precinct in all of New York City. Wow. 24 hours a day you can drop off a coat anywhere at any precinct. Mm-hmm. And through the generosity of New Yorkers, just individuals around the city, we are able to collect coats and get them to those partner organizations who distribute them to the people that need them. So
so this is a year-round process.
You know what? It's a little bit of a year-round process. I would say it's more of a maybe 6-month process. Mm-hmm. We work with these agencies, these other partner organizations, in a variety of ways, not just during the coat drive. We work with them 365 days a year, in most cases, with our ongoing volunteer programming. Mm-hmm. Then, you know, around the end of summer, we start reaching out and, you know, kind of talking with them to understand their needs, their expected needs for the winter. And then we start reaching out to corporations that put on coat collections, individuals that might put on coat collections at their family holiday party or something like that. And then also our partners that provide those public collection sites like the MTA, NYPD, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And that's where we start, you know, building those relationships to get the coats in the house and get them out to the people that need them during the holiday season in the wintertime.
But you also have the ability to help people if they want to start their own coat collection team or coat collection drive.
Absolutely, we encourage it. We depend on it as well as many New Yorkers, especially on a day like today, right?
Right.
On our website, newyorkcares.org, if someone wants to start a collection, it's very easy. There's a little application. You fill out a few pieces of information, and we get you all the information that you need to start your drive. It's there are posters, there are tips to you know, spread the word and, you know, build support around your drive. There are all sorts of instructions about how to get the coats to us so we can get them to the people that need them. And we'll get that out to you as soon as possible, within a matter of days after filling out that application.
Now, I read that you guys are the largest volunteer management organization now.
Yeah, I believe so. We last year, for example, we mobilized 59,000 volunteers in New York City. And that was actually, in addition, there were about 14,000 more that helped out during our Hurricane Sandy relief and recovery efforts as well. So it's a pretty large organization, and it's a pretty large effort. And again, it's a team effort, between our partners and our volunteers. It's really a wonderful thing to see day in, day out, really.
Absolutely. And now is the time, the winter's upon us and Thanksgiving, but you guys are driving all the way up until around the Super Bowl, and Super Bowl's right around the corner.
We are. It is around the corner. This year, it's the 25th is a special year for us, but it's extra special because we're partnering with the New York, New Jersey Super Bowl Host Committee. And we are partnering with them and our sister organization in New Jersey, Jersey Cares, to put on the Super Community Coat Drive in 2013 to kind of showcase the region's generosity and goodwill in the run-up to Super Bowl 48, which is in February. So this year is not only the 25th, but it's the longest coat drive ever that is going to extend through February 7th, which is the Friday after the big game. So we're definitely excited. We're definitely the extra kind of the megaphone that the Super Bowl Host Committee can provide us is going to be really helpful in getting more coats in New York and New Jersey.
Travel around the United States, sometimes New Yorkers get a bad rap. They just dog us out for being New Yorkers. But I mean, this is one of the greatest opportunities that I think we see through New Yorkers to really be able to show that New York does have a heart.
Absolutely, absolutely. As I was saying earlier, I mean, I think the coat drive is special because it definitely personalizes giving. We can all imagine. Today before I went out, I was looking in my closet. Which coat do I wear? To think that some people might not have that choice. And I think we can all imagine what it's like to spend a day in the cold, and that's something that I think really compels so many people and has for now 25 years, literally over 1 million people to contribute coats, and unfortunately we still need more support and more coats this year.
So the coats that are donated, you partner with organizations that are actually donating coats, and you find ways to just get them to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yep, we do it in a variety of ways. We work with transportation companies to get coats to those partner organizations. We offer a degree of direct coat donation and distribution to people who might need them as well. So we get them in a variety of ways and get them to the people in a variety of ways.
In addition to what you guys do, you've got a lot of stuff New York Cares, but you also have another program, and I wanted to get the time to highlight that. It's called Winter Wishes.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The coat drive is it's been kind of a holiday tradition in New York City. Winter Wishes has been around for almost as long, actually, and our Winter Wishes program is less advantaged children, teenagers, and even seniors around the city that might not be getting a lot of gifts for the holidays. They can write their winter wish to New York Cares asking for a small gift, and we match that letter with volunteers who can provide it. And we have letters pouring in. Last year we answered almost 40,000 letters, and this year we are looking like we'll have that many requests as well, and we really need volunteers to step up and answer some of those winter wishes this holiday season. So.
Wow. So when you get these letters, they come directly to you, and then you just try to find people who can partner up.
Absolutely.
What's been this participation level there? You've been able to tap into a lot of people who've been able to participate with this?
Yes, absolutely, we have. Again, we've reached out to many different stakeholder groups at New York Cares, whether it be the individual volunteer, whether it be some of our incredibly generous corporate sponsors, and they form their own teams to take letters, answer them, and get them out to the kids and teens that have written them. As I said, this year and last year we had such an outpouring of support to answer an incredible number of letters that we received. This year we are seeing the same number of letters, and so we definitely need the same amount of support. So I encourage everybody definitely to participate.
So you're encouraging them. So encourage them where? How do we do this? How do they get in touch with you?
Absolutely. NewYorkCares.org is the website. Look for the Winter Wishes program on the website. It'll be front and center. Mm-hmm. And you'll have all the different instructions and different ways to get involved with the program.
Well, thank you so much, Steve, for coming and sharing with us, giving us a little bit of information. Hopefully, New Yorkers will do their part in trying to keep somebody warm throughout the course of the winter and hopefully be able to grant that wish and make somebody's holiday season and winter season a better one.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Steve Stryker.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, Steve Stryker here with us from New York Cares. And, of course, we encourage you, please do your part if you can to really help and bless somebody during this winter season. There might be somebody out there that's really struggling in the area of having that coat or just needing that donation. And as the season is upon us, it's hard to believe that already Thanksgiving is here, Christmas is here, the winter weather's here. Yes, you can go outside and see how cold it is, and somebody's standing in need. So hopefully we can do something to help somebody out. Well, that about wraps it up for this edition of Open, and certainly it's been a pleasure opening up and coming into your homes. We want to thank you, the guests, for joining us, as well as all the viewers for tuning in. Now, if you've been studying part of today's show, don't worry, because you can catch a re-cablecast of the show 10 p.m. Cablevision's Channel 67. If you don't have Cablevision, you say, oh, I got Verizon Fios, not a problem. We're on Channel 33 there. And if you don't have either or, you're saying, listen, I want to watch you guys, we're on the web, www.bronxnet.org. So we encourage you, have a great week. Most of all, keep your heart, your mind, and this channel wide open. I'm Darren Jaime saying take care and God bless.
On the New York sports scene, make it 3 straight wins for Big Blue. Tune in Friday morning on Open for more on the New York Football Giants and all the latest in Big Apple sports. 10 a.m. right here on BronxNet.
Nine, 8, 6.